President, within a few minutes, we'll be voting on the President's nomination of John Ryder of Memphis to be a member of the board of the Tennessee Valley Authority. To those of us in the 7-state region that TVA serves, it is a very important institution. Its job is to provide large amounts of reliable, low-cost electricity, which is the basis for how we live and how we work. Has a lot to do with our ability to attract jobs. Their job is to provide that energy in a clean way so we can see our mountains and so we meet the emission standards in our metropolitan areas that allow us to attract and grow more jobs. And TVA is fulfilling its mission very well. It's headed toward a position where it will be about 40% nuclear in its production of electricity, about 20% natural gas, about 20% coal, a little less than that. It will have pollution control equipment on all of its coal plants. Most of the rest is hydroelectric power and a little bit is renewable. In short, it has one of the cleanest portfolios in the country, and it's continuing to do that and producing a lot of low-cost, reliable electricity. So we're very fortunate to be in a region where, as we look down the road 5, 10, 15 years, we can say to people who are thinking about moving themselves to Tennessee or moving their businesses to Tennessee or growing it there, that you'll be able to get a lot of reliable, low-cost electricity, all that you need. And in addition to that, you'll be able to see the Smoky Mountains because the air is a lot cleaner now that they have such a clean portfolio. So John Ryder's appointment is a very important appointment, and he's a well-qualified man for that position. He's one of Tennessee's best-known lawyers for a long time. Since the late 1980s, he's been listed as one of Tennessee's best lawyers. He's well-respected by everyone who knows him. Senator Corker and I, who recommended him to President Trump, know him well. Senator Blackburn, Senator Corker's successor, has a high regard for John Ryder, and so all of us appreciate his willingness to serve and look forward to the voice vote that we're going to have in a few minutes that will place him on the TVA board. The board has just selected a new chief executive officer. It's the largest, TVA is the largest public utility in the United States, perhaps the world, and it's an important assignment and one I'm delighted to recommend him for. Now, one other thing, and I won't dwell on this because I spoke on this Monday night. Unfortunately, Mr. Ryder has been on the Senate calendar for 9 months. He was nominated by President Trump a year ago. The problem has not been with Mr. Ryder because, as I said, President Trump nominated him after he was thoroughly vetted by the FBI. The Senate Committee on Environment and Public Works considered him and had a hearing and reported him unanimously to the floor. But for 9 months he waited there because of one reason, and it is that Democrats have consistently obstructed the ability of Senator McConnell and the Republican majority to help President Trump form his government. 128 times, Democrats have required Senator McConnell, the majority leader, to file a cloture motion to cut off debate to advance a nomination like Mr. Ryder's. Now, this is not a cabinet position. This is not a lifetime judge. This is a part-time board on an important institution. But it's the kind of position, one of 1,200 presidential nominees that any president has who are subject to confirmation by advice and consent. It's the kind of nomination that if a committee unanimously reports to the Senate, we normally approve by voice vote. Yet on this vote, Senator McConnell was forced to file cloture a week ago. Then we had to wait an intervening day, and only then could we come to this vote. So this is not the way the Senate is supposed to work, and this obstruction has to stop. And Senator Blunt and Senator Langford have introduced a resolution which has been reported to the Senate by the Rules Committee that would adopt a rule very much like the one that would cause us to adopt a rule very much like the one we adopted in 2013 when I worked with a large number of Democrats and Republicans for the sole purpose of making it easier for President Obama and his successors to be able to confirm promptly the men and women whom they choose to form a government. It got 78 votes, and what we did at that time was simply say, you still keep the cloture motion, you still wait an intervening day if you need it, but we reduced the post-cloture time, not for Supreme Court justices, not for circuit judges, but simply for sub-cabinet members and for district judges. Sub-cabinet members to 8 hours, district judges to 2. On Monday night, I invited my Democratic friends to work with me in 2019 the way I worked with them in 2013. And in a bipartisan way, let's make sure that the Senate can do what it has historically done, promptly consider and vote up or down with 51 votes the nominees of any president of the United States for positions, for the 1,200 positions that form the government. There have been some conversations. I hope Senator Blunt and Senator Langford will continue to have those conversations with Democratic members. But I would mention that there are 9 Democratic senators, by my count, who are seeking to be the next president of the United States. And I hope they can look 20 months down the road and realize that just one Republican senator could do to them, if they were president, what the Democrats have done to President Trump, and it would be very, very difficult for the next Democratic president, if there were to be one, to form a government. We don't want that to happen. That diminishes the advice and consent role of the Senate. It fills up the government with appointees who are acting and whom we don't know, and they're not really accountable to us. That's not the way this place is supposed to work. So I renew my invitation to my Democratic friends to work with me the way a number of us worked with them in 2011, 12, and 13, and let's change the rules in the right way. Let's basically adopt virtually the same rule we adopted in 2013 and allow this president and any president to get prompt consideration and an up or down vote of their nominees. So I congratulate Mr. Ryder on his confirmation. I'm grateful for his willingness to serve. I'm sorry that he had to wait so long for the opportunity, but the people of Tennessee and the 7-state region will be much better off for his service of this important institution. I thank the President.